Well, welcome, Dana. And I am so excited to have you here today to talk about, your journey through your leadership, through coach training, and the work that we've done over the past year. So I'm super delighted to have you here and to spend some time diving into what your experience has been over the past year and a bit. So I would love for you to share who you are, what you do, and the work that you do at Right Rehab.
Amazing. Thanks, Pam. I am Dana Parsons. I'm the Chief Executive Officer for Right Rehab. We are a provincial company providing support to clients and their families that have been impacted by neurological trauma. And we do that through rehabilitation therapy, specialized attendant care and respite care, as well as social work services.
Awesome. And where can people find you, your website, if you will, please?
So very simply, rightrehab.ca. It's WRIGHTREHAB.ca.
Awesome. And I just want to, reiterate how honored I am to have you here today to be able to speak to your experience as a leader in an organization that does meaningful work. And, I am just completely honored to be able to and grateful to work with you and your team and your organization as you think about what's next for you. And so before we dive into that, we have so many good things. You have so much to share. And what I'd love for you to do right now is to take us on a journey from, before you and I met. Talk to us about, where you were last summer, so a year and a bit ago. Talk to us from that place. What was going on in your life, in your, workplace? What was happening?
In reflecting back where I am now, to look back, I know that for years I took so much pride in knowing all of the processes and all of the procedures. And I did, and I directed them all. And as much as I tried to engage others to support the work that I was overseeing, I often got really lost in the details, and those procedures constantly bogged me down. It was really heavy to carry, and I felt constant pressure all the time for myself, from myself, and from external forces, real or perceived pressure. In the spring of 2020, in the middle of the pandemic, I was hit with an opportunity, and at the time didn't feel so much. It felt like a giant step backwards for my particular plans and the direction I saw for the company. It really opened my eyes and my way of thinking for this opportunity to change. The possibility to look at the big picture of leadership in myself, in our directors, and as a corporation in the industry, in those moments really gave me the desire to elevate my leadership practices. It led us on a search to engage a support system to help raise the bar for my direction as a leader in the company. And that's when you and I met.
That's amazing. Amazing. So the words that really stood out for me, Dana, was, you knew what you knew, like you directed the processes, the systems, you just knew what you knew, and you were into the details. And then the other piece was, there was some real or perceived things sort of getting in the way. And so there was a catalyst that happened. Sometimes we say to us or for us, that really helped you. What I hear there is just, sort of sit up and take notice. Okay, what needs to shift for myself as a leader and for the team, for the organization? Is that what I heard there?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's exactly what happened.
Okay. And then I love that you said, I see this as an opportunity to elevate my leadership. And that is like, to me, such an enlightened leader to recognize, it's sort of a bit around what got me here won't get me there. It feels a little bit like that as I hear you say, and recognizing there's some stuff that's not in our control and there's some things that are. And then we met. And so I love the story that you shared, just bringing us to kind of recognizing, awakening to the fact that something needed to shift. Okay, awesome. And so much pressure. Like I was hearing this energy around the pressure that was, you were possibly putting on yourself from that external or from the internal place. And I just feel like that is so often the case for high achieving, especially women leaders today. And so, okay, so tell me then, we met and we first started with coach training. It felt like it seemed to me that was sort of the first place to get started. So,
yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So tell me about, what were your goals as you were thinking about, coming into the coach approach system at that point?
So I was somewhat skeptical and leery to not so much make change, but I wasn't 100% sure what the results were going to prove or were going to give me after the fact. And taking or completing level 1 coach approach system with you and your team really just was like the first baby step. It really was all about reframing and creating those new pathways in my new ways of thinking and discovering how I was going to approach leadership from that point on. And what I loved is it allowed me the space that was safe to relearn all those things that I brought that are part of what made me who I am up to that point. So I had this, regular, safe environment to relearn, and also learn new tools and then practice the art of this elevated thinking and being curious with those around me. And it really changed my outlook and the ability to recognize the gifts that I have and the challenges that present themselves that are embedded in me. And so that I could use both of those to my utmost advantage for change. It was a game changer, that whole 3 months that we spent with the group in level 1.
Okay. Oh my gosh. So I love all that you shared there. And so the one word that stood out for me was just this safe environment. Well, let's even back up from that.
Yeah.
Okay. How is this actually going to change my leadership? I heard this. So what's going to be the proof, at the end of this, what is actually going to shift? And then I heard this having a safe place to really dive into who you are as a leader and, elevate what I heard too is your thinking and being able to step back and gain some new tools and practice in a space that really felt safe.
Absolutely. There was skepticism starting, not knowing, and very quickly, you and your team created an environment that allowed the participants to be real and admit where they were coming from, and use that as the springboard or the jumping off point of how to shift, how to realign what you really want this to look like. And, we don't all do that work. We don't all sit down and regularly think about where we're going, what it looks like, how do we want it to be, as opposed to just allowing it to happen. And having that safe space as a leader was quite significant. As a person, it's very impactful, not just from a business perspective, but from a personal perspective.
Yeah, love that. I love that because it really is holistic. We bring our whole selves to our families. We bring our whole selves to our work. And that really is lovely in how you recognize both the personal and the professional side of it. And, there's a piece that you mentioned around, we don't all take time to, reflect and step back and say, okay, so what do I want? What is getting in my way? What is possible for my future? And so, it really is kind of I'm going to say forced way to show up for, 3 months consistently and do the work is how I'll say that. Yeah.
Not easy.
Not easy. Not easy. Okay, great. So, so what I'm hearing there, the greatest impact then was this holistic experience and the allowing you to step into what's possible, but giving yourself the space to do the work. Is there anything else that you would say, like from pre-coach training to after coach training, that was a significant shift?
I think the impact of me participating in the coach approach system training has been felt company-wide, for sure. When we were going through the process, when I was finished, I committed to approaching conversations from a coaching perspective. And it really allowed our team to participate in, execute, and experience this whole culture shift that we were having in the company. I allowed myself to hold them capable, something that I wasn't used to doing. I allowed them the space to discover and lean into all of their wonderful strengths. And I've definitely, felt that shift in the pressure. It really moved us forward to a forward-thinking environment in our organization.
I love that. And I'd love for you to describe, if you can, for me, this idea of holding them capable. I heard that sort of leveraging their strengths and getting them to discover for themselves. What, if you can think back to sort of the Dana last, 2020, spring of 2020, to Dana today, 2021. How do you experience that? I'm going to ask, like, in your body, is there any shift that you may be feeling that's different?
18 months ago, that pressure to perform, that pressure to have others perform, could be quite overwhelming. And, sitting back and learning, and I shouldn't say sitting back in terms of, a relaxed manner, but allowing the learning to happen in terms of what are the strengths of our team? How do they intertwine? How can we support each other in being the best corporation we can be, as opposed to standalone skills, and how do they mesh together? And the physical feeling is no longer of heavy and pressure. It's very enlightening to watch it happen and to be a part of the growth process with your team. Almost every day I walk away with like a warm heart and joy, versus the other feelings that have been removed.
Yeah, yes. And I love how you, shared that idea of the pressure, and it, it makes my brain goes to sort of like feeling like this is often the case with a lot of clients that I work with and that have come through our coach training. It's like, I have to do it all myself too. Oh, I get to, spread the wealth. I get to spread the strengths. I get to leverage the strengths and push leadership down or bring leaders up. That's sort of what I'm kind of getting from what you're sharing.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Really learning what jazzes them, for lack of a better word, makes them who they are. What are their strengths, and how, versus me doing and telling, how can I engage and hold them capable of completing and more what I could do.
Yeah, awesome. I love the shift and how that's unfolding, and the fact that you are leading this culture change in your organization.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to say a big congratulations, because it's not for the faint of heart. If it were, we'd all be doing it, and it is work to sort of relearn how to lead from a different energy, a different methodology. And you really are on the leading edge of change. So, okay, I know we've done, a lot of work since then. You've done a ton of work, for the organization, with your team, and for yourself. And so I'm thinking right now around, what has been most helpful as you think about, we did some strat planning, you went through mastery beginning of last spring. And, what's the impact from day to day? I mean, you've talked a lot about the shifts that you're experiencing, coming from more of an observer. Facilitator is sort of how I would word that. But what from day to day, how is it showing up differently now compared to like last year?
You did touch on, I finished level 1, and then you and I engaged on one-on-one leadership coaching, and you participated in our strat planning, and I completed the mastery. And I think all of those activities really added to my capacity as a CEO. I had the opportunity to witness your facilitation of our leadership strategic planning, which truly gave me the confidence to continue to encourage the plan's execution and completion throughout the year. And that was, I reflect on that day quite a bit through my notes and how to implement the strategies that we talked about. I think the biweekly coaching really allows me the space to lean into those areas that sometimes get sticky in terms of growth, my own growth, and also, allows the space to reflect and respond and realign to the overall vision. And I would say, if I think about mastery and how it's impacted, really ignited a fire for me to coach within the organization, and confirmed that as a company, our direction and our culture shift when we're engaging our leadership team, our associates, and our professional team, it really confirmed that we're it's right. We're on the right path. We're, implementing all of those strategies has been really important work.
Okay, awesome. Important work. I love that you said that, because it is about the important work, because work can get in the way of the important work. And I love that you are just, leading the organization into the future with the plan that you set, that the team set, that, the partners set together. And, and also change isn't easy. And so, sometimes it's, a safe place to go when you're feeling like the only person waving the flag and leading the organization forward. It can be challenging. It's like, who do I turn to? And so, I think because you're working on so many big initiatives and such a shift in culture, I feel like there's this opportunity to have an anchor. At least I know that's what it is for me with my coach. It's this anchoring to coming back to, what did I say? What did I say? What did I say? Where are we going? Where are we going? Is this right? Is this true? Because we can still have the noise in our head, as we step into bigger things and filling the bigger boots that you are currently doing right now in your new role.
Yeah.
Super exciting. Okay, so we could talk about the ROI to date and what this investment of time, energy, and resources. I'd love kind of if you could paint a picture for us on what you see as the ROI for you.
Daily I get this opportunity to look at what's going to move us forward, and that big picture thinking that Coach Approach helped me pull out of myself has been very impactful. In terms of return on investment, it has definitely changed the landscape dramatically. I know that if we were to continue on the path we were on, or I continued on the path I was on 18 months ago, we would not have provided the results that we've experienced corporately, or I would have experienced personally. And the work to identify those visions and adjust and make changes to align is not easy, but so worth it. And, a lot of over the last 18 months, I've had in my mind, just because it was doesn't mean it is. And, I reflect on, we have one shot at this every day. And we might as well make it count towards what you envision. And so I think, I keep that in my mind all the time. You have one shot on this earth today, so make it count.
Yeah, I love that, because we all have 24 hours in a day, and it's how do we want to use it, and it's bold and courageous to say, I see something more for us. And it's courageous to say, yeah, we're not, we're just not going to sit here idly by. Not that you were doing that before, but what I heard was that was not going to get you to where you are today.
Right.
Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah. So some super exciting news. And I really want to underscore this, just talk to us about the award, because you have earned the 2021 award. You were Rehabilitation Company of the Year, and this is a 2021 Awards of Excellence in Brain Injury Rehabilitation. So talk to us about the award. What was meaningful and significant about earning this year?
This one right here.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
So 2 weeks ago, we actually received the Award of Excellence from the Ontario Brain Injury Association. And what we love about receiving it is that it's input from industry professionals. So a panel reviews and looks at, testimonials that have been submitted and feedback from all types of professionals in the industry, as well as clients. And this has been so impactful since, this last 18 months that we've been on this journey, because that is when we began to shift our vision and our mission and the culture at Right Rehab. So we've been in business for 20 years. I've been a part of the leadership team since 2010. And we certainly are not the biggest player in the industry, that's for sure. And we continue to maintain those values and philosophies that were instilled in this company when it was started so long ago. So, through the pandemic and all the changes in auto insurance, we've continued to hold steady and excel. And, this award simply put just solidifies the amazing work of our team members in the field and the huge efforts that our leadership team continues to develop and guide Right Rehab to these great accomplishments for our clients.
Yeah.
You know, it's somewhat a bit of, you know, icing on the cake to for all the work that everybody's put in, you know, in these big shifts and changes in our culture.
Yeah, it's what an exciting time. And you know, to me it's like a little bit more proof of, look what we're doing here. You know, we're standing out. We're not the biggest, you know, fish in the pond.
No.
And yet, you know, we're being recognized for, you know, having that, doing the excellence. I mean, you're all about that in how you do things. And you're not staying quiet about it. You know, you're getting out there in a bigger way, and you have rock stars on your team. You know, you have rock stars on your team who are like stepping up. Let's do this. Let's make this happen. And it takes, you know, it takes all of that to make these things happen.
Absolutely.
Super exciting. Okay, so yeah, I'm thinking about, you know, your industry and other leaders. You know, what would you like to share with them? What, you know, what is the thing that you need them to know?
Yeah, I think the important note here is that we're redefining leadership and team culture by identifying those gaps that we've observed in the past. And it's not enough to just notice periodically. We're constantly leaning into those to improve. And through, you know, the regular assessments and conversations and implementation of training opportunities, as well as, you know, adding this component of leadership coaching on a regular basis for enhanced growth. And through those opportunities, we really have created a vision to hold each other capable to our full potential as team members and as a company. And we focus on the desire to encourage others to live the best life that they choose. And that's the important thing. It's about holding each other capable to be the best. And it's really where we've been focusing our energy over the last 18 months.
Yeah, super exciting. I love the redefining leadership and really looking at it from a holistic place, because it is about being your best, living your best life. And so what does that look like from, you know, inside the organization to what does it look like on the outside, you know, in their personal lives, and how, you know, I feel like there's these threads that are connected, to the work that you're doing and infusing in the culture. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
And now your team, you have some of your team members now starting to learn some of the tools that you started with over a year ago, and tell me a little bit about that.
So really important that it's not all top down. And so learning to shift the culture and have those courageous conversations and talk about the gaps and the opportunities and the strengths is important that we, you know, expand our leadership team to learning those skills as well. So we've got two currently in Coach Approach system for this session, and really looking forward to, I mean, I know what the impact was for just myself. Imagine the impact threefold and how that's going to roll out. So I'm super excited to see how that plays out in the new year.
Yes, awesome. I'm just so honored that, you know, you are doing this work, and that, you know, this is, to me, it's legacy work. You're shifting culture, you know, in your industry, and redefining what leadership looks like, and the impact of that, Dana, is, you know, so far reaching as you continue to kind of spread this this coach approach to your leaders and to the organization. Okay, so I just want to, thank you so much for joining us here today. And if there's any last words of wisdom that you would like to impart, what would those be?
I think the idea of investing in programming for support or coaching in an environment that we're in right now in, coming through the pandemic is scary. Just the idea of thinking about it. And look, it's a difficult decision. Without the last 18 months, you're investing into the unknown, right? And so the what ifs, the unsure moments, and, I would challenge you to reframe that and be curious. If you stay where you are right now, how does that align with the vision that you have for your life? And I often consider and challenge people to consider, how do you place value on living your best life? What does that look like? Take the risk. You get to be here one time. You get to experience today once. You won't regret it, and you will live a life that aligns with the vision that you create. And, if there's any question, do it. Challenge yourself to be uncomfortable.
Love it. Love it. You do not do status quo, Dana. And
I do not.
That's right. And you take a risk. You took a risk, and over and over and over. I think as coaches, what we learn too is that we need to also model the way. As leaders, we need to model the way that we are pushing our own growing edges. And we don't know what's going to happen in 6 months, but without it, what's the cost of that by not moving forward and taking decisive action. So I want to just say thank you so much for your time today and doing this interview. I'm just so excited for what's next for you, the team, and your organization, and all of the good stuff that's already happened. It's unbelievable. Every time we chat, it's like, oh my gosh, I get to hear about all the wins and things that are going on, and how you're shaking up and leveraging your leaders and your team. It's just such an honor to work with you. And I'm just,
Thank you.
so very grateful.
Thank you. Truly blessed that our paths crossed. And, it definitely, I said this earlier, but a game changer to have you as part of my team and part of my support system, and just allowing me and holding the space for me to relearn and realign with what my vision is meant to be.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Brave soul. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.